ask us whether they should be importing their car from the UK, Japan or Australia. Different makes and models have different variations from each market. Hi, my name is Alistair Ben from MHH International. It's our plan today to help you understand the benefits of buying different cars from different markets. Here's where I'm to tell you more.
Let's look at the Toyota Landcruiser Prado to illustrate the differences between the three markets. In the UK, you could buy a 2012 3-litre diesel turbo car and more recently a 2.8-litre turbo engine. The average UK car does 12,000 miles a year, which is around 18,000 kilometres, so a 7-year-old car can easily have in excess of 70,000 miles on it, which is around 120,000 kilometres. Looking at the differences in engines, you could source a UK diesel 3-litre Prado or a Japanese 2.8-litre petrol. It is very possible to find the Japanese equivalent car with just 20 to 30,000 miles on it. This may seem remarkable, but in Japan, people use their cars in a very different way to the UK and often do not drive the same amount of miles as UK residents. Before 2015, Japan also had a 4-litre petrol Prado available. Neither the petrol engines are turbocharged, so people can often describe these engines as being a little underpowered. You can also buy the Landcruiser Prado from Australia. Here the Prados are more like the UK cars and are predominantly diesel, with the benefit of coming in kilometres on the speedo rather than miles. Australia is a huge country, and so the residents cover even more miles than in the UK. It is not uncommon to see cars advertised from Australia with 150,000 to 200,000 kilometres on them. Just looking at the differences in the models available is only part of the story. There are 6 key differences between buying a car from the UK or buying a car from Japan, which you will also want to consider, so let's look at those in more detail now. Diesel versus petrol. If you have a particular preference between a diesel or a petrol car, that can be one of the biggest driving factors to steer you to a particular country. The UK is perfect for buying diesel 4x4s, as most engines are available as diesel. Diesel will give you greater fuel efficiency, and the UK cars are typically higher powered than their Japanese petrol equivalent. But if you are keen to buy petrol, then you will have much more choice for your 4x4 from Japan. Specification. European cars usually have a higher standard specification than Japanese cars. They are much more likely to have leather interior as standard, whereas Japanese cars often have cloth seats as standard instead. Japanese cars will have Japanese controls and radio, which will need attention on arrival. People who are buying higher-end cars are much more inclined to want to buy from Europe because they know that the cars will be ready to drive when they arrive. The controls and radio will not need to be modified, so there is less to worry about and less to interfere with. Documents and service history records. One of the beauties of importing a car is that the information on some imports is much more extensive than the information available on local cars in Kenya. For example, in the UK, cars are serviced regularly and their service records are also regularly maintained. So when you buy a car in the UK, you can be confident that it's had its annual service and you can see that it's been properly maintained, and the mileage checks also prove that it's genuine. In Japan, the requirements are different. Instead of keeping a record book, the Japanese put stickers on the parts of the car and the date when the work was done. This makes it much harder to understand, and it's not considered to be a full service history, even though they probably have been serviced. Retail standards versus auction standards. In the UK, most cars are bought from retailers, and so they're prepared to retail standards or showroom standards. This means that they will not have any noticeable scratches or dents, and usually come with 2 keys, mats, manufacturer's bookpack, and the service history. Whereas cars from Japan come mostly from wholesale markets, and this means the original retailer has traded in the car to replace it for a newer model. They are not prepared for retailing, so they can often have a chip on a screen or a dent in a bonnet or only have 1 key. The Japanese grading system does help to grade the car. For example, a 3.5 is going to be lower quality than a 5. So we would strongly recommend that you refer to this before considering any car from Japan. The shipping time to import a car from the UK or Japan is the same. Australia takes 10 days longer, but in the grand scheme of things, this is not really a significant difference. Inspections. All cars coming into Kenya must pass the QISJ inspection before being allowed to be registered. There is no QISJ inspection centre available in Australia, so this can open up a small chance that you could find out that you might have a small issue with your car that will incur costs. The exporter from Australia is unlikely at this point to want to support you with this. So in summary, the biggest deciding factors on where to buy your car from will depend on whether you want a petrol or a diesel engine, the spec level of your car, the mileage that you're happy to buy, and whether you want European or Japanese controls. If you're hoping to import your next car, let our professional team help you. At MHH International, we will help you avoid the pitfalls of importing and get you the best car at the best value and import it to you with ease. Simply take a look at the UK cars and Japanese cars we have on our websites, mhhinternational.com and mhhjapanesecars.com, or email us and we'll be delighted to help you import your next car.